Hey, thank you so much for joining me on the Mindset Conversation for Men's podcast. Today, my guest Christian is the founder of True North Productions. It's a video company that really focuses on heart-centered production for small businesses, video branding. Actually, just worked with him. It was phenomenal. Please go check him out. I got into a conversation with Christian about all things, really. Like, we talked about life, some religion. We talked about the deeper aspects that we can get into, whether philosophical or what we're experiencing. Really enjoyed this. It's a very raw, honest conversation. Some of the shit in it maybe not be what everybody wants to hear, but it is really important to know as men, we need to have conversations where we explore our own ideas and get into the real aspects of life. Thank you for listening. Let's go ahead and dive in. We all want to be the hero of something. Mm-hmm. But in order for there to be a hero, there has to be a villain. Mm. Like, a part of our lives, being in life, this physical plane, to me, is understanding that there's dichotomy. It comes with entering into the world, I believe. Yeah. And so when I'm watching it, I'm always very intrigued by villains. Now, Bane intrigued me even more because he was so methodical. Yeah. Do you know how like the Joker is so emotional? Yeah. Everything he does is tied to emotion. And a lot of villains, everything is very emotional. Yeah. But with Bane, he was just methodical. Yeah. This is just what needs to be done. Yeah. And it really got me. Like they're in the big fight scene, the first one. And he's like talking to Batman. He's like, I was wondering which one will break first, your body or your spirit, Yeah. And then Batman gets up and he still tries, and he's like, guess it's your body. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And he's just methodical. Yeah. But to me, there's no Bane, there's no Batman. Mm. What do you mean? Batman never becomes the person who ends up going and living a good life, giving his home away to the foster children, creating a space for that gentleman to become Robin, if Bane wouldn't have stepped into his life and literally broke him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure. And so, like, understanding that in a, not only a storytelling sense, but in a life sense. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen it before in your experiences, or just in like what you've done, where for someone to be who or what they want to be, they had to have a catalyst? Yeah, 100%. I think it's every single person. I think it's kind of cliche, but like I think you are your experiences and what's happened to you. I mean, I can think of like 3 singular events that put me right here, right now. Really? Yeah. I mean, wow. I guess we'll just get right into it off the bat. I mean, yeah. So, for those who don't know, you and I live in Annapolis, Maryland. Mm-hmm. I'm from Ohio, which is very much not here. Mm-hmm. But I'm from Cincinnati, so it's not like the rest of Ohio. Okay. It's like the cool part. Okay. And it's way better than Cleveland. It's not even close. I love it. But so like I'm only here because I decided to get into being a videographer. I only became a videographer because I joined the Navy, and the Navy gave me the ability to be. I only joined the Navy because I failed at college. And I only failed at college because I decided college isn't for me. Mm-hmm. And that all happened because, I mean, we're getting really deep right off the bat here, but I have a condition. I think it's categorized as a psychological condition, but it's not. It's more of a mental condition. And it's called depersonalization disorder. And it's essentially, for those of you who don't know, it's essentially you live in an altered state of consciousness, just like all the time. When you drink or when you smoke weed or do other drugs,
the high that you feel is called depersonalization. And it's essentially you feel detached from your body and your surroundings. Everything feels like a dream, like physically. And when I was a kid, like 17, I smoked weed one time, not knowing that it can result in what's called depersonalization disorder, in which the sensation never goes away.
Really?
Yeah, and you're just constantly in a dream. And once that happened, I lost a lot of my ability to like focus and like, you know, other mental capabilities that are required to be good in school. And I was like, damn, like, okay, there goes college. Like, I got to find something else. And luckily, I was always like more right-brained and like hated math and all that. So like coming to that realization and, you know, realizing like I'm probably going to have to like pursue something a little more creative wasn't too troubling to realize. But yeah, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be sitting with you right now.
I'd probably be
like a teacher or something.
So it was your bane was smoking weed one time.
Yeah. One time.
One time.
Yeah.
And then it literally... Now, does that give you the ability to watch yourself?
Yeah, it literally feels like you're watching yourself.
All the time, though?
Yeah, like if I hold my hand out in front of me, like it doesn't feel like my hand.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is like 12 years ago, so I'm like completely used to it now. I don't even remember what it was like to not be depersonalized. But yeah, it's like this doesn't feel like my hand. It's the most bizarre, like I could never try to explain it. It's the most bizarre sensation. The closest I can come to properly explaining it is like, it feels like you're in a dream. And it's, some people, like I've seen psychologists before and they'll kind of interpret that as like a psychological, like, oh yeah, you feel like you're in a dream. You're just kind of like going through life, you know, and it's like, no, like physically, like it's not a psychological thing.
Right.
Like I'm okay. My mood is fine. Like it's a brain, like physical brain thing. So yeah.
Part of that though can be used for you.
Yeah, totally.
Like to be objective, that's one of the biggest things I try to help my clients do.
Yeah.
Is to step outside of themselves, to see themselves from a different angle. So they're not so stuck in their emotions or what their physical system is telling them.
Yeah, totally.
So you have like a built-in mechanism that you can use to do this.
Yep.
You just can't turn it off.
No, never. Yeah, no, before I had this condition, I was a totally different person. I mean, I was a kid, so there's a good chance I would have developed and changed anyway, but like, yeah, it's like night and day. I became like super self-aware and like super, I don't want to say like philosophical, but just like thought so much more about myself and like everything, and yeah, just totally changed me. So I didn't take that moment and then use it to go destroy a city like Bane did.
Right.
I imagine some other people who have this might have thought about doing that at some point, but yeah, I don't know. I just I prefer chilling and just kind of hanging out more than, you know, bring justice to a civilization.
How do you think that helps you in being able to create a vision of someone's brand, or, I mean, for me, right? Like we worked on mine, a vision of me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I think so much more. Not necessarily more than others, but more than I used to back when I was normal. And yeah, I think like being good at anything is just like putting more intentional thought into it, and then you know, putting something out, you know, thinking more about it. At like, I'm really trying to practice right now, at the age of 30, thinking before I speak. I still have the old me's, like I just speak straight from my gut, and I realized literally like 2 days ago, I had the conscious realization, like if I have something I want to say, I should wait a bit, think about it, and then say it.
Well, it's interesting because literally your reality is, your mind has built a reality that makes you create space between who you are and what it is that's around you. But there's still a part of you where it doesn't take place with your words. So you could almost tie in like this shift that you had.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Depersonalization.
Depersonalization, which to me is a superpower. Like, it's a fucking superpower if you use it for you.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, okay, I'm getting ready to say this. Let me depersonalize this. Is this going to come out of my mouth? How's it going to be received? Huh.
Yep.
Maybe I won't say it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's weird. I almost wish it would have like taken me a little bit further away from who I was. Because like I still have some of my like fiery, like I'm very like quick to judge. I'm very like loud. I'm very like being passionate is not a bad thing, but like a lot of in my case, I grew up in a very like angry household, and so a lot of that comes out as anger. So I wish it would have taken me just a little bit further into the dream world, so I would just be like totally zen. But it brought me like as far as it could, with like still letting me keep some of my less desirable character traits. But that's whatever.
Maybe it is there to show you what you can do, so then you can work on those things that you'd like to shift, right?
Yeah.
Like one of my biggest gifts, I think, was, my mom being so manipulative.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, I think that's one of my biggest gifts. And God, it's not her fault, God bless her. Like, she didn't know any better. She had no idea, right? Like, she was never given the tools to be like, oh, hey, I'm going to talk to you in this way and that way. I'm not trying to steer you in this direction, which is all good because I was able to use that, watch myself do it when I was younger, and then shift it into a place where I can help people and I can understand communication on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Because I can watch and see what's going on behind the words people are saying.
Yeah, totally.
And so instead of me like continuing to use it against people, it made me slow down, choose my words wisely, and then see how I'm emotionally affecting someone with how I speak to them.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy just how like powerful emotions are. Like, I mean, we're guys, so pretty much anything that we talk about as it pertains to the real world will come from a movie. So you were watching The Dark Knight the other day. I was watching The Irishman. Have you seen that? Do you know what it is? Really? The Irishman is like, Goodfellas? Like it's the kind of like the final hurrah of all the mob actors and Martin Scorsese. He took De Niro, Pacino, Joe Pesci, Harvey Keitel, all those guys, and put them in one last hurrah of a movie, and it's awesome. And Joe Pesci's character is this like super calculated, like not at all emotional guy. And I was watching that, and I fully thought and felt like, man, like that is how I need to be, like 100%. I just need to fully commit to being more measured and like thoughtful and less expressive with my feelings, at least when they're negative. Fully felt that and meant it. And then like 5 minutes later, literally like 5 minutes later, I like scratched my tire on the sidewalk or, trying to park, and immediately just abandoned all of that and realized I was abandoning it. Realized it and was like, I don't care.
That's how strong emotions are, though.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And because, right, so like your whole system has been wired to use those emotions in very explosive, expressive ways. And because that's what you saw, it's difficult to shift those neural patterns in a quick time. What I found is, though, like I've always been very emotional, right? Like always felt everything, always been, whether I'm super happy or I'm super angry. Just it's such like an explosive event.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
But the more I watched them, like the more I started to pay attention, like, oh shit, like my chest is puffing out. Oh my gosh, my gut is starting to tighten. Oh wow, I'm getting ready to like act like an idiot right now.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Like, okay, I watched it, it still came out. Darn. I watched it, it didn't come out at first, and then it came out even worse. Oh shit. I watched it, I analyzed it, I didn't allow it to affect me. And then, it wasn't an overnight thing. It was fucking 10 years.
10 years. Oh, damn.
For me.
Oh, I don't know if I got that much time.
You can do it.
I don't know if I have that much patience.
But the problem is nobody was teaching me anything.
Okay, yep.
I was learning everything by reading a book and then trial and error.
Can I tell you something? I think maybe this is like, I don't know, maybe people won't agree with this. I think that's the best way to learn is on your own. Everyone I've ever met in every walk of life always talks about my mentor. Oh man, that's my mentor. Or shout out my mentor. Like, man, I wouldn't be here without my mentor. I've never had a mentor. I've wanted so many mentors in my life, and I've just never like had a guy just be like, yeah, come on, kid, I'll show you the ropes. It's just never happened. And so I've always been forced to just learn on my own. And after, several years of doing that, I actually think that's way more effective.
It is.
You learn in your own way.
Yes.
And you make the knowledge your own.
Yes.
You're not just like, I don't want to say like copying someone else, but like, if you're shadowing someone, you're essentially just like doing what they do, and you can put your own spin on it, but I think it's way more effective to just like learn on your own.
The problem with mentorship programs is we're not teaching people how to be themselves.
Yeah.
And so like, if you can...
You're just making clones.
And that's not the goal.
Yeah.
The goal is literally to understand the person for who they are.
Yep.
And then help them be themselves.
Yep.
But the problem is most of these people are feeding people systems. Hey, you do X, Y, and Z, you're good.
Yeah.
You do it. But we're not teaching people how to understand and be themselves.
For sure.
And that's why, like, what she was saying about helping people feel seen and heard is so important.
Yeah, for sure.
Because at the end of the day, the reason most mentorship programs fail is that's not the goal. Hey, I'm going to give you this. You're going to do this, and then this, and then you're going to be able to do this.
Yep.
It's not real life, man.
Yeah. Well, you're also just like catching fish for them. You're not teaching them how to fish.
Exactly. And so there's a possibility that you haven't found someone, right, to reverberate with you because you still see it in that old model.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yep.
But I agree with you. It is extremely important for us to understand tools, to understand ourselves.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, the only person that can implement it is us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It also makes me think of like kind of another methodology that I really think is effective in like not just learning, but also just like becoming who you want to be is essentially just like finding your own role models, like very intentionally seeking out role models. And it literally doesn't, in today's day and age, doesn't even have to be someone that you know. It doesn't have to be someone in your life. Like when I was like, kind of becoming a young man, when I was like in my early 20s, I had, like no older male presence in my life. I had my dad, but like, no one wants to be like their dad. And I didn't have like a ton of friends or like coaches or anything because I'd like sucked at every sport I played. So I was just kind of on my own. And I literally like, I swear you can like learn how to like fix a car through YouTube, but you can also like learn how to like become the person you want to be through YouTube. And I just found like a ton of guys that I, kind of like more noteworthy figures that I really liked and just, kind of absorbed them. And just like through years of like osmosis, picked up a lot of their, I guess, like teachings for lack of a better term. And I think that's really important too for people. It's like, important. Yeah, be very intentional with like who you want to be. Find people who, I think like one of the biggest cheat codes to life is just like, have you ever heard the phrase stealing like an artist? Stealing like an artist is basically like, let's say you want to do a painting. You can reference other paintings and implement, take the things you like, put them in your painting, take the things you don't like from the work you're referencing and don't put them in. It's called stealing like an artist. You can do that with literally anything in life. And I did that a lot when I was growing up, with like just people I kind of like idolized or looked up to, and yeah, like I feel like through doing that and then also just like living my own experiences and like becoming myself, I just like fully carved out like an identity for myself. It's like totally unique, totally my own, and I just feel like no one does that today. And maybe it's always been like that. Maybe it's not even a today problem, but like, yeah, I feel like no one is like their own person. Everyone just seems kind of like, and maybe I'm just being pessimistic, but like everyone seems kind of like vapid.
We're very molded now.
Yeah, totally.
We're very molded. So it shifted my perspective because I was so independent. Like when I broke my spine, wanted to make the shift, I was like, I'm not fucking listening to anybody.
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
gonna read my books and I'm gonna figure this shit out myself.
Yep.
I was listening to a podcast. Tim Ferriss messed me up. That's what happened. I was off everything. I would only read books. I wouldn't listen to anything, watch TV, listen to music, nothing. I would only read. And then I was like, who's this Tim Ferriss fellow with this 4-hour work week?
Yeah.
Let me read this.
Yeah.
So I read it and I'm like, this is weird. And then I was like, okay, I'll start listening to his podcast. So it put me onto a quote by Arnold Schwarzenegger where he said, I stand on the shoulder of giants.
Yeah.
Now, this is an odd thing because if you looked at like where he came from, it's fucking nothing.
Yep.
It was nothing. So I was like, okay, if that fellow who came from nothing says that he has people that literally helped him along the way, all right. And I met a coach of mine in the beginning of trying to understand what coaching even is. And he was like, you can have trusted advisors that never even know you. He's like, so what you can do is read books, and then you can understand an identity of those individuals. You can take those, put them into a notebook, and literally have your own trusted advisor board. And so, like, the Dalai Lama was one of mine.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
How do I deal with anger? And then I would literally open up and be like, he would literally be like, are you poisoning yourself?
Yeah.
Like, shit, I'm poisoning myself.
Yep, totally. Yeah, when I'm in a situation like, it can be a conversation, it could be like a bigger situation. I literally, people say like, what would Jesus do? Like, you know, I do that with like a million different guys that I look up to. And it really is effective. Like the brain is so good at just like taking something and running with it.
Yes.
You can just present an idea. Like I'll be like, you know, what would this guy that I look up to do in this situation? And just like present that idea to your brain and it'll take it and run with it. And you really can like make a solution out of that.
See, I had this weird thought last week. All right, so you can take things, put them into ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
It'll give you great answers.
Yep.
So then I was like, I'm just going to start treating my brain that way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to ask my brain this question and act like, great, I'm totally open to anything. And it started to give me really amazing answers.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, wow, this is good. I think that we limit our abilities because we're so molded and programmed right now to see ourselves as small, but on the outside create this facade that we're very big.
Yeah.
You know, instead of like, let me flip that around, all right? Let me not focus on showing the outside world how amazing I am, how much of a man I am, but let me go inside and dissect what I don't prefer about myself to remove it so I can see myself fully and then feel that way about myself on the inside. And I think that's a huge switch right now that needs to be made because we're so programmed to focus on money, sex, getting drunk, doing all these things that actually don't make us feel good, but make us look like manly men.
Yeah, it's so weird. I feel like every successful person ever, like throughout history, when they reach the top of the mountain, all they report from the top of the mountain is like, hey, it's not worth it. Like all this stuff that I chased, it's not worth it. And I've been hearing guys, you know, actors, musicians, whatever, podcasters, like my whole life saying, hey, like all this, you know, material stuff that you're chasing, it's not worth it. And we still do it. We still chase it. Like I still do. I'm guilty of it.
Me too.
Like I still care about what car I drive. I still care. Like I wore my Air Force Ones to this interview and it's like, I'm fully aware that it's a hollow dead end to pursue. And yet we still do it.
Yeah. You have to think about it like in a compassionate way with ourselves. If we're programmed for 30 plus years to believe a certain way, and then we're constantly being reinforced that from the external world and the stimuli we receive, it's going to be very hard to change it. So like my big thing is like race cars, like old Japanese race cars.
Oh, cool.
So like
What's an
RX-7s,
example?
R34s,
Okay. Yeah,
Skylines, but like 1992. So those things still are always.
Damn, that's old. Oh my God, I'm old.
Dude, compared to race cars nowadays, it's a wild world.
What can I? Sorry, I'm totally like.
Go ahead.
I've never asked you this before. How old are you?
40.
You're 40?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Damn, I hope I look as good as you. I'm 10 years away.
Thanks, man.
Wow, you're killing it.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
And so like those cars are what I grew up on.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
that was all I ever aspired to have. And so I still constantly, I drive a Sequoia.
Yeah.
I love my Sequoia.
Yep.
But it has taken me 5 years now.
Yeah.
And I still have those thoughts. And my buddy Chad, shout out Chad, I still sometimes show him like pictures. Hey, look at this R34. Like,
yeah.
right? But the difference is now I know that those things have nothing to do with my self-worth. If one day
You just admire them.
I admire them.
Yeah.
And if one day I have a charity that literally gives $150,000 to inner city youth,
Yeah.
and that happens on a regular basis, I'll say, hey, Brett, do you still want to have fun and create a car?
Yeah.
Okay, you've done a lot of great things.
Yeah.
But
you earned it.
But it doesn't, where before, that was all I thought about. Literally,
okay.
the only thing that came into my brain. Why? Because we're told that success directly correlates to the car we drive.
Yeah.
We're told that how we look defines who we are. We're told that our self-worth comes from the outside.
Yeah.
But if we can take those things, those programs, and start to turn them on their head, hey, I don't want to believe that anymore. Every time they pop up in my mind, it literally comes in I love myself. I don't need that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I wonder also like how much that's an American thing, like, or maybe just like a Western Hemisphere thing. I mean, like, I haven't traveled like to other parts of the world really, but like when you look at, places like China or like Japan or just like places in the East, like they don't have that as much. And I wonder like what made us that way? Like, it seems like such a primal mindset to have to want to like flex and show off. It's so primitive. And yet like we're the new, like the West is supposed to be like the latest and greatest, like the, newest like software patch of man. And I'm just like, have we not, like, why are we so primal in our thinking in those ways,
You bring up a really good point. So I was reading, it's here somewhere, A Fearless Heart. It's by the Dalai Lama's translator. He was a monk and then gave up monk life to get married, but still is like a translator between Tibetan and Western culture. So when he presented the idea of self-loathing to the Dalai Lama and to other monks, they did not understand it.
Like they couldn't grasp the concept.
They couldn't even grasp the fact that people had self-hatred. Because they have an intrinsic worth that's built into them.
Yeah.
They also didn't care about material things.
Huh.
And so I think it's built into our culture. And then, if we're going to go down this route, I'll give you my honest answer.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like the greatest way to control people is to give them something outside of themselves to create value with.
Okay.
So if you want to control people, tell them, hey, you need this really big house.
Yeah.
Oh, you just got a big house? Guess what? They got a bigger house.
Yep.
You need a bigger house. Oh, you got the new Mercedes? They got the new Mercedes truck.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, you need the new Mercedes truck.
Yeah.
So then what are we doing? Constantly looking for something outside of ourselves to make us feel good about who we are.
Yeah,
That's a great way to control people.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what, it's like, I don't know what instills that in us. Like, no one ever, like, came up to me and told me, like,
Nope.
People told me the opposite. People told me, like, family is all that matters, and I still, like, don't listen to it all the way. Like, I still, pursue those things. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if, like, America has always been that way. Like, I wonder if you go back to, like, it seems like now that's, like, literally, like, every single person, that is their goal, is to, like, become rich and famous and hyper successful and, like, flex. It seems like it's literally every human being. Like, I wonder if it was always like that here. Do you think it was?
I don't think so. I think that there probably was a time where we were so close to depression and we were so close to world wars that we had to be with ourselves.
Yeah.
Which sucks because tremendously difficult times ground us as humans. Like we, in my perspective, we're the only things on this earth currently that are both physical matter and spirit. And so that puts us
You don't think dogs are spirit?
I think dogs are
There's
loving
Oh, man.
and they're kind and maybe, now we're going to go on a pretty big stretch.
Let's go.
Maybe some of them are humans incarnated as dogs, but I think physically on this plane, the only thing that can be both is human.
Okay.
Which then puts us into this constant struggle. Okay, I want to love myself and trust myself. I want to be a part of this human experience where I get all this stuff and I do all these things.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's like, how can we find a way to manage both, right? Be a part of the world.
Yeah.
Create our version of success.
Yeah.
But at the same time, still sit with ourselves in peace.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about balance, I guess. I find it really interesting how, like, the universe, no matter what, is going to find balance. There's inherently balance in everything. Like, literally every single aspect of life has balance to it.
Or we'll find it.
Yeah, or we'll find it.
And that's the weird part.
Like Batman and Bane. Like,
had to have balance.
Yeah, it's so weird. I wanted to mention this when you were first talking about this. I'm just trying to find any excuse to talk more about Batman.
Well done.
when you were talking about Bane and you know how he's the bad guy, you know, like it's weird how if you just like for 1 second actually like look into why someone is the villain, quote unquote.
Correct.
It's like, are they?
Correct.
If you literally take just one step into looking into like why they believe what they believe or think what they do, it's like, I don't know if they are now. It's like, is Batman maybe the villain?
Could he be?
Because Bane's whole thing is, you know, he wants to destroy Gotham. Okay, if you're living in Gotham and you just hear that and you're like, you know, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to get nuked. Like, but when you hear Bane explain it, he's like, well, Gotham is a completely corrupt, evil, fallen, decadent, just like kind of a pit of a society. And it brings harm into the world. It needs to be cleansed in order to help restore balance and harmony onto the planet. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of true. It is a horrible place. You have the Joker and Two-Face running around, and like your best hope is this guy who dresses up like a bat and just beats the shit out of people. Yeah. That's the best they got.
That's the best they got.
So it's like, is he the villain? I don't know.
That's a good point. It's perspective.
Yeah.
Like because you can, okay, let's say two people, right? We walk down and we just start walking down the street and two people are arguing. We could take either side.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that both of them would feel strongly about what they are arguing about.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I try not to ever get so stuck in this is good, this is bad. Like there's the Dalai Lama in one of his books is like saying he has difficulty with his higher people who are his advisors to like his country. Because one of them will present an idea, someone just did this. We need to make sure we act now. And he'll go, I can totally see your perspective.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And then one of his other advisors will come later in the day. Hey, they just did this, but we got to make sure we don't act. So we show them that we are very patient and calculated. And he'll be like, yes, let's do that.
Yeah, okay.
And then both of them will come to him like, hey, you told us both yes. What are we supposed to do? Because if we get so stuck in a certain perspective, right, we all have to make decisions.
Yeah.
But if we're so vehemently stuck in a perspective, how do we ever expect to understand ourselves?
Yeah, or anyone else. I don't know. But like, it kind of makes me wonder, like, is anything true? Is anything, is anything true? like you said, like if you hear two people arguing outside and you actually like hear out fully their perspective and why they're upset, you can pretty much resonate and like come to agree with any perspective. It makes me really wonder, like, how far does that go? Is just like everything all subjective?
I think it all directly correlates to what is that human being trying to accomplish. So let's say two people get into a car crash.
Yeah.
One person is wanting to rob this old lady of all of her money by saying that his neck is injured and holding his neck.
Yeah.
Fully believes it, but he's trying to do something to harm another human. Old lady feels real bad, but maybe she's like, hey, I'm going to cash in and get a new car. She's still wrong.
Yeah.
She's trying to take it. Now, let's say one of them is like, hey, look, I'm really sorry. Whatever happens here, I'll take care of you. They're coming from, I believe, a higher perspective.
Okay.
So the higher perspective is one that isn't trying to take, it's trying to give. So if you look at Bane, right, we'll stay with that.
Yeah.
He was trying to give, but he was taking at the same time. Now let's say he overthrew everything and he made it equal and everybody now had opportunities so that they could be healthy and have food and a place to live.
Yeah.
Is this good? He seemed to accomplish something good.
Yeah.
And then if a fellow comes in that has $1 billion and tries to punch him in the face, is this guy bad?
Yeah, maybe he's kind of an asshole.
Maybe he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah. It's weird.
But I think, one, we should always be open to looking at every perspective.
Yeah.
And then two, we should try to be objective and see what's actually going on here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, like, no matter when anyone is watching this, it will still be true. There's a lot going on in the world right now. And, you know, I want to, like, lend my voice to a lot of things. But I don't as much as I'd like to, because I am like, in a year, am I going to feel totally different about this? Is my perspective just going to shift? Like a lot of things that have happened in the past several years, my perspective has totally shifted on them, done a complete 180. And it's like, thank God I didn't make some big crazy Instagram post, like, because I would feel like I'm totally wrong now.
Right.
Like I wouldn't believe it at all. So yeah, it's just weird how fluid that all is.
I think it's important to sit with ourselves and think about, what do we stand for? So this practice I have with coaching clients where we create a triad, right? And so the triad is literally like, there's 3 aspects of who we are. And if we can understand those, we can make decisions based off those aspects. So, right? So mine is like, okay, humility. I was a cocky, arrogant prick.
Really?
For real. Yes. So
damn, you've done some work.
Humility is one of my core aspects that I have to fall back on. Compassion is one of my core aspects, right? And then it's called unworldly. I made this one up. Unworldly is like coming from a completely different angle and trying to always see the bigger picture.
Yeah, totally.
And so I fall back on those 3 things always. So when I think about, okay, I'm going to stand up for something like we talked about, right? Like I eventually want to have a nonprofit that helps out the youth, you know, learn mindset, learn self-awareness, learn emotional intelligence, learn skills, whether it's to go be a mechanic or HVAC or politician, just some type of program in the inner city.
Yeah.
So I have to look at my triad, right? And see, where does that come from? Does any of that come from ego? Oh, I'm going to do this so my name's all over it. Then that's wrong. When I fucked up, then I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But right now, it doesn't come from ego. It just comes from, hey, I was given so many opportunities. These young men aren't.
Yeah.
And so am I employing my triad, compassion, humility, unworldly? I am. So then I know what I fall back on.
It's a good checks and balance system.
The problem is if we don't have those systems, if you don't believe in anything, you fall for everything or something.
Yeah.
But that's not our fault.
Yeah.
We're constantly inundated with tons of different opinions.
Yeah.
So how do we parse through who we are? And I think it's that self-awareness piece.
How do you feel about the psychological or the general like psychology notion that everything is ego? nothing is truly for the good of others. It's everything you do, even if you think you're doing it for the better of others, is actually for your own ego.
So this is a good one. The Dalai Lama said, which is weird, I'm referencing him so much. I guess I should read his book again.
People seem to like him.
So he said he's the most selfish person in the world. Now this is literally somebody who...
Who says that?
The Dalai Lama.
Okay.
So it's literally somebody who is supposed to be like...
Selfless.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he explained it like this. The more I give to you, the more I get. The more compassionate I am to you, the more compassion I get. And so when you talk about everything comes from the ego, I think, okay, well, let's step back from that. How do we define ego? Are we defining ego as this thing that tries to take constantly? Are we defining this part of our brain that is built into all of us as humans that tries to create survival? Now, if we're defining it as that part of our brain that tries to create survival, okay, well, then our next step is to go, are we programming that thing correctly?
Yeah.
Or are we running on old programming that was built into us from 10,000 years ago?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's a great question you have. We need to take it back further and actually look at how we're defining these things. I define ego as something that needs to be programmed to work for us.
Okay.
I believe that most human beings currently are allowing their ego to run them into negativity.
Yeah, totally.
And so, like, if we reprogram the ego, then yeah, I literally am a coach because I know that the more men that I listen to, that I create space for, that I pour into, the happier I am as a person.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
You know?
It's, yeah, my dad always used to say, like, you know, if you're having struggles with, you know, internally, like mental health issues or whatever, you're stressed out, you're sad, whatever, he was like, don't try to help yourself, go help others. And watch how much better you feel. And it's true.
It is true.
I think just like helping others just gives you a boost. And it also just like, you take your mind off yourself. So much of my issues are just because I'm thinking about myself so much. Like if I never thought about myself, if I had no sense of self, like I would not have depersonalization disorder, I'm sure. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of truth to what you're saying.
It's good to give back. I do think that some men give back to others.
Too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can I tell you something? Maybe this is shitty. That pisses me off. When people are like too nice and just like, it really like makes me like irrationally angry. I'm like, dude, chill.
Right?
Chill. This is like performative at this point. Like I'm uncomfortable.
Yep.
Like you're like insulting yourself because you like didn't pull my chair out far enough. I don't even need you to pull my chair out. I'm 30. Like, relax. It's all good.
So what could it be inside of you that is mirroring what you see, which causes anger?
That might have been too deep for me. What do you mean?
There's something in you that gets hit when someone constantly does nice things for others.
Yeah.
And so understanding that can really help you know yourself. I'll give you a great example. Every once in a while I go over to the barbershop. Fucking awesome people, right?
Yeah.
All the barbers.
That one over
really
there?
good people.
Nice.
But sometimes they have very egoic people in there. I have to watch myself to make sure I don't say something rude to someone, because when I see their false ego, which is bravado, I know it's insecurity.
Yeah.
It triggers my being pissed off because that's who I was.
Yeah.
And instead of being who
I
I
see.
am,
Yes.
I immediately want to cut through them with a katana.
Yeah, totally.
With my words.
Yep.
But guess what? That's literally pulling me back into the old person that I don't want to be anymore.
Yep.
So that's how I am seeing in someone else what I am allowing anger to go over on. So there's a reason why you get so frustrated with these people.
Yeah.
It's because it's hitting something inside of you.
Yeah, totally. I think I have suffered from being a people pleaser in my life. And I think I probably do see some of myself in that. I'm like, oh, that's so, like, I was like that, oh my God.
Yes.
And I get angry at myself.
Yes.
And then angry at them.
You project it on them.
Yeah.
Instead of going, wow, I remember when I was like that.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Since I feel bad for you, I have compassion for you, so I need to do nothing. That's a switch. It's not an easy switch.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be way easier for you. But if you can switch frustration into compassion, not only in one moment are you taking it and giving it to them, you're giving it to yourself.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Mm-hmm. Totally out of left field. If you had to guess, just like try to stick within the confines of this stupid question. Mm-hmm. If you had to guess, which religion do you think is the right one?
Oh, okay. I don't know if you can define it. Because in my perspective, this is going to piss off a lot of people. Each religion currently in the state that they're in is serving people in the religion instead of people in general.
Okay. What about just like the principles of each religion?
But you can pull back each religion and see that the principles that they started with were all true and very close to being aligned. So
yeah, totally.
If you pull back Christianity, if you pull back Buddhism,
yep.
If you pull back the Muslim religion, like all of these things were about helping each other out and coming from compassion.
Yeah, giving to others.
Yeah.
Not having an ego.
It's not what it is right now.
Yeah.
And so that creates a conundrum.
Isn't it weird how they're all the same though?
No, it makes total sense.
Yeah, but it makes me think like, I struggle with religion. And it's kind of shitty because my name's Christian. So like if I wanted to go be Muslim, like I'm fucked. But
Brother Christian.
Exactly.
Christian.
But I struggle a lot with, because I was raised super religious. And I just like, I don't know. I try to like think from the perspective of a higher power who would have like created this whole thing. And I'm like, would I really like punish someone and like send them to eternal hellfire for like not picking or even being exposed to the correct religion?
But think about that. What is the best way to control people? Tell them if they don't follow your way, you're going to this place. Now, if the higher power that created all of this, I am sure that they would have realized, which I'm not saying I know, but my thought is they would have realized that human beings are so intricate and so individualized that there have to be multiple flavors of the same thing for all of us to understand a larger picture. Now, I think at one point in time, that was why it was created this way. I think that's why there were so many different religions that all said the same thing, but in their own ways. That were to serve the people, not to serve the people in the religion.
Totally.
Because there's so many different cultures. Look at how different we are than people in South America, people in France, people in Australia. It's weird to me. We're all human beings, and that you could meet somebody. I got on a Zoom call with a dude from England. I didn't know what he was saying.
Yeah,
It's
for
like,
sure.
I'm trying to have a piss mate or something. He's like joking around with me. And I'm like, all right, if you have to go to the bathroom, it's no problem. He's like, no,
no, I'm making a joke.
I'm making a joke. And I was like, oh. But let's say we were force-fed one thing. One, if we're force-fed one thing, about 90% of us are going to revolt. We're so individualized.
Yeah, totally.
So two, if we were given a bunch of different aspects that all related back to the same thing but were different in their own ways, that'd be a great way for us to see something like love or compassion and not create dichotomy. Shitty part, what happened? It created dichotomy. But in my perspective, it's because it fell into the hands of men and women who wanted power instead of creating love.
Yeah, it all boils down to that, I think. But when I think about the religion thing, it just makes me think like, I feel like because every religion at its core kind of preaches the same principles, it's just interesting how like, I feel like we all just know like how to be good people. Like we don't need, like, I feel like religions get too in the weeds. Like, I don't know if I need like an entire book telling me, you know, every single scenario, how to like be, and like all these rules, and like don't marry this person, you know, like don't eat this. Like, I think there is some truth to like the Bible. My dad never lets me forget that, like, you know, has really good diet advice in it. But I feel like a lot of that just gets too in the weeds. I think if you just like kind of peel all that back a little bit and just stick to the core principles that we innately, I would like to think, all know to be true and good, like, I think you're on the right path. Is that weird to say?
No, I agree with you. And I agree, a major principle of religion was supposed to be community.
Yeah.
And I think community is a really good thing, where we come together and we share stories and we share our thoughts. I do feel like we are built in with programming that is positive, that literally gets deprogrammed from us. You
think so?
100%.
Damn.
Yeah, I think that's a great job by whoever made all this up. Like, and I'm talking about the people in power.
Oh, okay.
The best way to control us is to deprogram all of our positive things.
That's weird. This is a bit of like a leap, but from what we're talking about, but it's a little more surface level too. So if you want to get back up in the clouds, we can totally do that.
Oh, good.
But it's interesting talking to you, because I mean we've had, you know, quite a few conversations, but we've never really like gone in depth like this. And I'm seeing like how much more of like an ethereal, like higher thinking person you are, and like so much of my thoughts throughout the day are like so grounded and like surface level and have to do with like the physical world. So it's interesting having this conversation with you. And maybe you can speak to this. A realization that I've come to recently is like, you know, every civilization, take America right now for instance, everyone, it seems like, is in this fight to make the country better, however they see fit, you know, and everyone just every day is like, you know, trying to vote for this person, speaking on this issue, trying to like get people to sign this, what's the thing called when people sign a thing a bunch of times and it gets, you know what I'm talking about?
Legislation?
No, not legislation too, but like a.
I'm gonna sound like an idiot. Declaration?
No, I sound like an idiot.
I don't know.
When people are like, "Hey, we're collecting
veto?"
signatures." I don't know. Never mind. People are like always trying to like fix civilization, and I've come to the realization that like every single civilization, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when it was, who it was, where it was. Every single civilization eventually becomes an oligarchy. Do you know what that is?
What's an oligarchy?
Oligarchy is where essentially like the system, the civilization becomes completely corrupt, and like 5 people at the top control everything.
And it fails.
Yeah, and it fails. And I'm just like, it makes me wonder, like, because I care a lot about like world issues and try to get involved, like I was saying, and you know, there's different like organizations that I help out with, and I'm just like, is it worth it? Like, let's say, I would say America's pretty fucked up right now. I'd say it's incredibly fucked up. I actually think we're literally like living through the fall of America. Like
Rome.
Yeah. I think we're experiencing it like right now. And it's weird how like boring it is. Like when I think of the fall of Rome, I'm
smart
like,
design.
Yeah, but when I think about the fall of Rome, I'm like, oh man, it's just been this like epic. There's like fire and people running around. But no, it's like boring.
Slow and boring.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think that's where America is right now. And I am like, damn.
So if you know that, are you still open to put your energy towards causes you believe in?
Well, here's what I think. I'm like, you know, let's say America falls and like, you know, people want to get involved with some other system or way of doing things to build it back up, to make it better and fix everything. Well, guess what? That's what America originally was. We said, hey, we don't like the way Britain's doing everything. They're a super corrupt, evil empire, and they're like, you know, making our way of life miserable. We're gonna we're gonna have a revolt, and then we're gonna fix everything. And what do you know? 300 years later, we're exactly what we fought against. And it's just like in The Dark Knight, they say you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. We become that. And so I'm just like, is it even worth trying to fight the good fight, quote unquote? Like, let's say America topples, a new group of people comes into power and they're like, we're going to fix everything. Give it like 200 years, they're going to be right back to where we started.
Yes.
You know?
So if you look at that, right, which is, it's very good self-awareness of seeing yourself and then understanding the backdrop of the bigger picture and looking at history. So take that and then look at the world itself.
Yeah.
The world is constantly going through seasons.
Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite things walking to here from my truck is to look at the flowers. The flowers aren't always there. Those flowers I see, they die. It is what it is. And so, like, are you okay with knowing that America, what it is now, is a cyclical thing that will go away and something else will come back? Now, if you're okay with that, are you still willing to do whatever you want to do while you're around to let yourself be yourself? That's where we can go from, this sucks, all this shit is garbage, clearly the country's going to shit, to, okay, I'm here for a certain period of time. What do I believe in?
Yeah.
And do I let that control me? Because you can let it control you one of two ways. I'm fucking fighting it. I'm fighting for America. I'm making it happen. Or I'm not even doing anything. Fuck all this shit.
What do you think is the right way?
Neither of those.
Neither of those. What would that look like?
That would look like you doing whatever you feel is best to help out the things you believe in that have nothing to do with any of that. And so it's like, I'm not expecting that I walk to my truck every day and smell this same exact flower for the next fucking 5 years. If I did that, I'd be insane.
Yeah.
Flowers come and go. I fucking come and go. Everything comes and goes.
Yeah.
Winter comes and goes. Spring comes and goes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're going to be real, Rome came and went. I mean, at one point in time, there was a civilization in India that was fucking phenomenal.
Whoa, what happened?
It came and went. Someone else came and took over.
Wow.
So it's like, if that's reality, which if we're okay with looking at history objectively and okay with the fact that we're mortal, in this time that we have, what are we going to do?
Do you think, so I'll try to put it more simply, like for my own life, I think about, like, I kind of see like my general path with two options. And this is like very broad. But like, you know, right now I'm starting my business. That's how you and I met. You know, my goal is to, within the next like 10, 15 years, amass, you know, a certain amount of wealth and, you know, assets and whatever. And I think, now, do I take everything that I've worked for and all the, you know, things I've accumulated and all the skills that I have, do I take that and try to give it back into the world and like fight the good fight and really get involved in things and try to make the world a better place? Or do I just go fuck off to the woods somewhere and live my own existence away from all that? That's the two options I'm torn between.
So if we look at it from a very straightforward perspective, now this is just my perspective, okay? So I'm sharing with you mine. I'm not trying to put mine on yours.
Yeah.
I have been given so many gifts. I have no idea how I'm still here and alive. No idea. I should have been, I'm out.
Wow.
At least 5 times now.
Wow. Your neck tried to do it for you.
My neck tried to do it to me. I tried to do it to me every single time.
Wow.
Like stupid, right? Drunk driving or drinking and partying or trying to fight fucking 5-10 people. Like, what are you doing, dumbass? Come on, man.
Yeah.
So if I'm still here for a reason, somehow I'm as healthy as I am.
Yeah.
Somehow I live in this safe, great place.
Yeah.
I personally want to find a way to give back in the way that I can, which is through the individual level.
Okay.
I am not someone who's going to go after this politician or become that politician or this big, huge cause.
Yeah.
I know what I can do. On the individual level, I can help out. that's even what I want eventually my nonprofit to be. On an individual level, help out.
So you want to be involved?
I do, but I
Yeah.
want to be involved directly correlated to what I believe in, who I am,
Yeah.
and based on gratitude for what I've been given.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Cool. So on your terms?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Because whose terms do you want them to be on? You want to just make all your money and then jump on somebody else's bandwagon?
Yeah.
Will you ever feel like you have ownership of your life?
Yeah, probably not.
So it's like, make that decision when you get there. You have no idea what it's going to feel like. I never knew that I would feel like this fucking 10 years ago. 10 years ago, all I want to do is have 5 race cars, 5 houses, and do whatever I want to.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
You grow as you enter into those situations. If at that time you just want to go and escape, then do that. You're creating peace in the world.
Yeah, sure.
It's still a good win.
Yeah.
You want to go and help on your own terms? Great. Do it on your terms because it'll fill your heart. The more that your heart is filled, the more that resonated with those around you, the more you're going to create opportunities for others to do the same. Excuse me. I was trying to get it all out in one sentence.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
For everyone else to do the same.
Yeah, nice.
You see what I'm saying though?
Yep.
It's like,
yep.
I'm never going to have a direct answer for your question because the question doesn't have to do with me.
Okay, gotcha.
It has to do with you.
Yeah.
Not the answer you wanted.
No, not at all.
I love it.
I'm just satisfied. So that's okay. When you don't give someone the answer they want, it forces them to kind of look within themselves a little bit. So I guess I have to do that now. Thank you. But yeah.
That's the goal, right? That's what we talked about in the beginning.
Yeah.
This isn't a mentor fucking thing.
Yeah.
This is hey, we're gonna have a conversation and both know each other better at the end. That's what I believe in.
Yeah, totally.
You know, I don't believe in like, oh, well, Christian, you gotta go do this, this, and this. How should I know?
Yeah.
You're your own person with your own experiences. All I can do is try to understand you through your questions, through what you've experienced, and then try to help guide you back to yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Are you a guy with? Do you have a lot of friends? Would you say?
No.
I don't either. Why don't you have a lot of friends?
If I'm honest, because it is very difficult to constantly be somebody who wants to go deeper with everyone around them. And a lot of people don't like that. Now, at one point I had no friends because all the friends that were around me only wanted to work on race cars, cheat on their wives, and drink themselves into the ground.
Yeah.
Had to eliminate all of those.
Yeah.
And then I found a few friends who are willing to be like, yo, how's life? Well, life is actually this right now.
Yeah.
You know, or life is actually this, or life is actually this. Cool, I just experienced this. What do you think? I feel the best way to know yourself is to have a few people around you that are willing to have those conversations with you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have men's groups. That doesn't mean that I'm not running a retreat. That doesn't mean that I don't surround myself with people. But it means that when it comes down to it, not everyone is really open to constantly dissecting their mind the way I am.
Yeah, that's weird because like that's kind of how I am. Like I find like people just don't want to like talk about the things I want to talk. I'm like always ready to go. Like you could wake me up at 8 a.m. and be like, dude, did you hear about this thing that just happened in Ukraine? And I'm ready to go.
You're in it.
I'm in it immediately. I'm plugged in.
Nice.
I'm on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
And like, yeah, people just like aren't into that. People just want to like, I think a huge part of it is like people love drinking so much. And like, because of my condition, I can't drink.
It's good.
It is good. Yeah.
It's really good.
I actually think sometimes like, dude, if I didn't have this, I'd probably be an alcoholic because I definitely have like an addictive personality.
Yeah, see, it's a gift.
Yeah,
Your
in a way.
condition is a huge gift.
Yeah, definitely, in several ways. It does suck sometimes, but like right now, for instance, like I can like barely see you. It's so weird. Like you can see me looking at you, but it messes with your vision in a way that like you look so flat and like gray. It's actually like really weird. I can't even describe it. And you have like a halo of light around you. I think you just have that naturally, but like the way my vision is.
Well, what's good about that is you have to like be very intentional with your attention, and you have to listen 10 times better.
I do. Yeah.
So that's very helpful.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That can be very difficult.
Yeah, totally.
And thank you for saying I have a halo.
You do.
That's really awesome.
Yep. When we were filming our video the other day, I was like, yeah, I'm going to put this halo light on you. And I looked in the camera and I was like, oh, you already have one.
Oh, that's so cool. Love it. So fun. Because I know it used to be a motherfucking red devil shit around me.
Yeah, just black, just
black
malice.
For real. That's what it used to be.
Wow, that's so weird. Like, I actually can't picture you being the guy that you described.
Always.
It's so weird.
It was just, and it's who I thought I had to be.
Huh.
And it never ended.
Wow.
And every time I would escape it, it would come back 10 times stronger.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
What do you mean escape? Like,
I didn't want to be angry all the time. I didn't want to.
You were an angry guy?
I was always angry. I was always trying to destroy things.
Like you would be like, fuck. Like,
oh, yeah.
You?
Rage out. Yep. Throw shit, break shit.
Do you still have that?
Uh-huh.
And do you act on it or?
It's just there.
Wow.
It's just, I just see it.
What do you do when that visceral, like, when it just, okay, so when I was over here, I was parking. Parking is, like, so important to me. Parking, it truly describes who you are as a person. How you park your car.
Okay.
Tells me everything I need to know about you as a person. And let me tell you something, this is why I'm, like, partially so pessimistic. Everyone parks like shit. Like absolute shit.
Yeah.
So we live in Annapolis, okay? It's street parking. You have 5 spots on a sidewalk to park in, okay? And they're all marked. You have to maximize the space as much as you can for other people to park, okay? So if I'm going to be parking on the end of the sidewalk, okay?
Yeah. See, but stop where you are because you just directly found why you get angry. You have to maximize where you park so other people can park.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks that way.
Yeah, and that sucks. But like, so I'm over here, I'm trying to park so I'm not late to this podcast, and there's a guy parked on the end of the sidewalk, and he leaves like 4 feet of space between him and the end of the parking spot. And so did every person behind him. And it's like, damn, everyone just sucks. Like,
well, they're all selfish, but they're not knowing they're selfish. People don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They just have.
There's no awareness there.
They're not even selfish. It's they literally don't even have the concept that other people exist.
Correct.
But I still hold them at fault for that. It's like, be aware.
But you can't hold people at fault for something that they can't see.
I hold deer at fault for getting hit by cars so much. It's like, evolve. It's been 100 years. You have watched so many of your friends and family get turned into pink mist. Don't do it. Evolve, bro.
You're expecting something to do something it can't and it doesn't want to do. The only reason that you figure out, holy shit, this is the way I see the world now. School's not going to work. I need to get into the Navy. I need to understand videography. I would like to end up doing this for careers because you chose that. You can't blame people for not choosing.
Can you blame people for just not being considerate?
Nope.
You can't?
It's not their fault.
Can it be their fault to some extent?
No, it really isn't. People nowadays are so inundated with anxiety and tension because they don't have what they want, because they can't get what they want, because we're built to a system that makes it so. And so if any time you are trying to blame somebody in this system for having stress and anxiety, you're fucking looking at it wrong. You want to blame something? Blame the system and then blame yourself. 1, you can't change the system, so I'm not going to focus on that. I'm just going to talk about it every once in a while. 2, I'm going to focus on me. Because if I'm getting mad at something that I can't control because of something that someone else can't control, I'm literally just stabbing myself with an arrow, and then instead of pulling it out, shooting another arrow into that arrow.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's not good. But let's say you have the ability to affect change. Obviously, me talking about parking cars is going to go viral. And let's say because I mention how shitty everyone parks, it becomes a movement, likely will. And it's like hashtag don't park like a dick face. And, they're talking about it on CNN, the president holds a thing about it, whatever.
Right.
And then everyone learns how to park right. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I held others accountable. I expected more of them. And now that problem is fixed.
But you did it with negativity. If you use negative to try to create something constructive, you will always get negativity back.
Really? You think so?
100%. Hitler tried to do a great thing. Hitler was also...
We're not going viral now.
Also loved by his mother and probably loved his mother. So I'm not saying that
He was a good painter.
People don't... Really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
He's a failed art student.
And so the interesting... Like I never thought of this guy besides anything but pure evil until... And he is fucking evil. But...
Yeah.
The Dalai Lama...
Well, he's like Bane. Like he thought what he was doing.
Why do I keep talking about Dalai Lama?
Yeah.
I was listening to him... on one of his talks, and he was like, not everything is pure good or pure evil. And he was like, even Hitler loved his mother. So if you try to label everything as pure evil or pure good, you are going to end up unhappy. And so it's like with the parking thing, right? Now, let's change that.
Okay.
You started parking. You parked. You were calm about your parking. You saw other people not park in a good way.
Right.
And you were like, hey, I forgive you. You have no idea what you're doing. I hope you get better at parking. And you keep parking in a positive way. Maybe one day somebody asks you to help them park. And you do. And because you don't have an attitude about it, you won't be an asshole about it, you will help them, and then they'll start parking correctly.
Well, I've been driving for about 15 years now. It has yet to happen, but I'll take your word for it. I mean, I definitely aspire someday to be at the level of like optimism you have for people. I just like, I don't know. I think people are pretty shitty on the whole.
But the only reason that I am like this is because I spent so much time being angry at people for being fucking stupid. So literally, I walked around constantly angry at everyone for not thinking.
That's how I am.
And all it got me was more anger. And so when I stopped being angry at people and I started to be like, maybe it's not their fault. Of course it's their fucking fault. They're all idiots.
Yeah.
Shit. Maybe it's not their fault. Maybe it's not their fault. Okay. Then I stopped being angry. I didn't get mad when people cut me off. I didn't get mad when somebody's an asshole to me. I didn't get mad when somebody talks shit to me. Because I realized, if they can't control themselves, and then I react to them without control, who am I? And so I had to literally in my life come to a place of compassion because it was fucking me up, man.
Yeah, that just seems like so hard to get there. Like thinking about putting myself there mentally to where like someone parks like a dick and I like have compassion for them. Like it actually creates physical pain in my chest.
Yeah, because you're looking at the bigger thing. You just
Yeah.
need to look at the small thing.
Okay.
When I park, am I calm?
Yeah.
Oh, I just scrubbed my tire. Can I be calm?
Okay.
That's the start, man.
Yeah.
It all has to start with very small, consistent steps. If you try to go immediately, like we talked about, this thing wasn't real. This office wasn't real. If I just was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a huge coaching business. Back when I broke my spine,
Yeah.
like my buddy Chad, we went on the first retreat I did. I asked him to come through, and he was like, "I'll come through for you." And like I told you, at the end of it, he was like, "Holy shit, man! I didn't realize this about myself. That's amazing." And he said, "I just want to tell you, your 16-year-old self, if he would see you now, he probably would have punched you in the dick." I'm like, explain, that's hilarious. This is a very funny visual.
Yeah.
And he's like, that guy would have never wanted to talk to you about any of the stuff you talk about now.
Wow.
He would have been very uncomfortable.
Wow. Weird.
He's right. So it's like, no, don't look at the like, oh man, no, somebody who didn't park right, I'm compassionate. Look at it like, can I be compassionate with myself when I scrub my tire?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Small, consistent steps.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to end with two fun things. 3 fun things.
Okay.
Let's go 1, just because it's you. What's your favorite Batman movie and why?
Now, you thought talking about Hitler was going to piss people off. So, favorite Batman. So, for those of you who aren't aware, which I wouldn't see how, but so I'm considered to be like the global expert on anything Batman.
Batman aficionado.
Yeah, yep.
Love it.
I'm the Batman fan.
All right.
So I've gone on record saying the best Batman-related piece of media, singular best, is The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson.
Really?
Have you seen it?
You know, it's weird. My son said the same thing when I asked him after I talked to you.
Yeah, your son's a great guy.
I didn't watch it because
Yeah.
I thought I just was like, no way he could pull this off. Isn't that the fellow that was the vampire
Twilight.
fellow?
Yeah.
But he pulled it off.
I mean, he's still playing a bat, so
Oh, wow, that was a really good twist you just
thank
pulled.
you. I mean, I've thought of it a million times, but I'm...
All right. So, that's your favorite?
Wait, have you seen it?
No.
Oh, go home and watch it. It's the best Batman.
So why?
So I don't care what anyone says. Like, Batman is at his best when he's grounded. Batman is by his nature, a more grounded superhero. He's not even a superhero. He's a guy. That is his appeal. That is why he stands out among every superhero, is because he's so much more relatable. And, you know, like, I think people are just like, your mind can only go so far, you know? Like, when people see, like, the Avengers and people are flying and there's lasers and explosions, it's like, on paper, that is, like, fantastic and whimsical and amazing that, like, you know, this god came to this planet and, like, there's this great war. It's like, wow, that's crazy. But people, like, can only take in so much of that. Stories that really impact people are the most intimate ones. And Batman is a perfect character for intimate, personal stories. You know, it's very grounded, very real, and I think that's just more compelling to people. And this new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson is super grounded, super gritty, super realistic as compared to like our world that we're living in, as much as a Batman movie can be. And I mean, that's just like at its core. I mean, if you talk about like the execution, I mean, the fact it didn't get nominated, I'm just like totally blowing out this mic here talking about Batman. The fact it didn't get nominated for any sort of like best cinematography, I know what happened. It simply has the best cinematography of like any movie of the past, I'm going to say 5-6 years. But because it's a superhero movie, they couldn't, they felt like, oh no, it doesn't count. The cinematography is beautiful. Robert Pattinson is so good as his portrayal of Batman. It's a totally original take. I won't spoil too much for you, but it's not the, you know, with Christian Bale Batman, he's like this very suave, debonair playboy, you know, flirty, kind of just like luxurious guy as Bruce Wayne. And then his Batman, he's more serious. Robert Pattinson said he threw that completely out the window. He's a very like, he's like emo. And he's like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, he's autistic. He's like on the spectrum. And he like, that is the character he plays. He's like a damaged, like very like introverted, very like socially, not just awkward, but like doesn't know how to like act socially. He's like truly like on the spectrum, weird emo guy. And man, it's such a refreshing and such an interesting take on Bruce Wayne. And then the story itself is really cool. It's about a murderer, a serial killer, and it's also about like crime and like organized crime and corruption within Gotham City. I mean, it literally like can't be beat.
Now I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. You have to.
All right, you
Yep.
got me on that one.
Yep.
What was your biggest takeaway from the podcast today?
I guess the biggest takeaway, off the top of my head at least, is that maybe there's hope for me to someday not be such a angry, hate-filled individual. because you said you were like that at one point, and I didn't know you then. I only know you now, and like I would have never guessed. I could have maybe guessed. I mean, no offense. I could have maybe guessed that at some point you were a bit more of like a bro who like drank and just kind of like goofed around. But I wouldn't have seen you as like a person with like concentrated vitriol towards others. So knowing that you were like that at one point and now you're this kind of like chilled out guy is hopeful for me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yep.
I think my biggest takeaway is something that affected you at first in a very negative way has actually helped you to see yourself fully. Which is difficult to grasp sometimes.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of things that from my past pop up and I still have to watch myself in them.
Yeah, totally.
And so it's nice to like maybe look at them consistently.
Yeah.
That's the key. Consistently as like, okay, if this is still popping up now, 20 years later,
Yeah.
how can I still learn from it?
Yeah.
And so that's really helpful.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
And then finally, this is an opportunity for you to talk about your business.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
right on. Awesome. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure. You just want me to just like give a spiel real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Well, so I run a video production company. It's called True North Productions. We're based out of Annapolis, Maryland, because I didn't already say that 30 times in this podcast. Brett is one of my first clients. I just started, as of the time of recording, True North a couple months ago. I was doing video contracting for the Air Force through IBM, and it was just like this kind of like, I don't know, soulless, like boring video job. And I was just like, I got to start my own thing. And so we, I would say mainly do marketing videos, like more advertising, promotional type things. But I'm going to sound so unlikable. I called it True North because I'm so sorry to anyone who I'm about to describe. I feel like quite literally like every video production company is just, they do a disservice to their clients with how little they care for like the craft. And I'm not saying that I'm like amazing or that I'm the best, but I do like care a lot about doing a good job. And like when we were filming your video the other day, like, man, I thought like I put so much thought and like care into like making sure that like that looks good. And so I called it True North because I was just like, God, I'm gonna sound like such a cock. It's like when people, do people ever ask you to like explain your tattoos? It's gut wrenching for me at least to be like, oh, well, this samurai means that I'm a warrior. That's how this feels right now. I called it True North because it's like, this is the direction that like video production and like video like marketing needs to be taken. Yeah. And it's nothing crazy. I just like care more about the end product than I think most.
And you care about the people you work with.
Totally. Yeah. I'm not here just like, it's not commerce for me.
Correct.
Like there's art and commerce. Like I definitely want to like make money, but like I still care a ton about like making something that looks really good and like stands out and is original and isn't just like pointing a camera.
There's heart.
Yeah,
that's my biggest thing is there's heart in what you do.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, and that's just like the gap that I saw. Like when I moved here, I just looked up like Annapolis production companies just to kind of get a lay of the land, and I was just like, oh my God, like, because Annapolis is like such a cool community, and I literally see it as like I sound like such a pessimist. I see it as like the last bastion of like the American dream. I think all of America was supposed to look like Annapolis. That's what we were told, and this is kind of all we got. And it's such a cool community here. Everyone's so tightly knit. Everyone's so got their own cool little businesses. And I saw the videos that, these production companies around here were making for the community. And I was just like, oh my God, like something about this has got to change. So Yeah, I don't know, that was a very long-winded answer. But if you want videos that don't completely suck, go to True North Prods, True North and then PRODS, short for productions, truenorthprods.com. In a couple weeks, you'll see Brett's video up there. And I'm telling you right now, I said it when we were recording, I was like, this is like the best scene I've ever like lit, or like, this just looks so good. It's going to be at the top of my portfolio.
So good.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Like when I'm finished with that, it's going to be awesome.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it was really great. I mean, you can tell that Christian loves what he does and cares about, what he's doing. So I recommend him completely.
Thank you.
Thanks, bro. This is really fun, man.
You're the man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yep, I appreciate you, Brett.
That was awesome.
Yep, thank you.